All right, it is Friday, December 9th, here on the Taking Vegas podcast. Get you all set up for a wonderful weekend of action. Army, Navy, big NFL action for Sunday. Got some basketball action for tonight, college hoop action for tomorrow. And we'll talk about the world of sports in general here on the Taking Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Chris Hodge. Good to be with everyone. And, before I get into games and matchups and free picks, I always try to bring up some certain stories that are going on in the sporting world. And I touched on this on one of the shorts that we did earlier in the week, the Deion Sanders thing. And that story is just kind of taking on a life of its own, really, because obviously it's Deion Sanders, so it's going to. But, I don't understand the criticism. I really don't. It's hypocritical that coaches do what they do. It's never going to end. A head coach is always going to take a job that is better than the job that they're in. Maybe not always, but 99 out of 100 times, right? They're always going to go for more money. They're always going to go for the better opportunity, as they should. It's their right? Deion Sanders did a tremendous job at Jackson State. Let's be honest. Before Deion Sanders took the head coaching job at Jackson State, no one in the world knew who Jackson State was. Now, I'm sure that's going to offend some people. It shouldn't, if you're being honest with yourself. I'm in the sports gambling business. I never cared about Jackson State at all until Deion Sanders got involved, and I really never cared about him from a sports gambling perspective. We have never been on or against the Jackson State game, but because Deion was there, they were fun to watch, and they're a good team. He did a great job. Great season this year. Won that conference championship, and well done. He had an offer to go coach at Colorado. I don't understand the criticism. He's supposed to take that job. Now, my problem has always been the coaches will lie. But that's what they do. A coach will sit down, and he'll sit in a player's living room or wherever and make all promises in the world. And when that coach gets a better offer, that coach will go. It is what it is. It's the way of the world. And that's what I mean when I say the players should have the power to do the same exact thing. You don't like the situation after a year, you should be able to transfer wherever you want. Now, I know the portal makes that possible now, but remember that it wasn't always the case. You would have to transfer, sit out a year. But coaches can go wherever they want. Brian Kelly can leave Notre Dame and go to LSU for $100 million. But players got to stay. It's so stupid. And that part of it is also hypocritical. But again, I don't understand the criticism of Deion Sanders. I don't. He did a phenomenal job. He'll do a phenomenal job at Colorado, hopefully. I don't see any reason why he won't. Obviously, it's a big step up, but he's going to get more talent because he's Deion Sanders. And the talent that might have gone to a couple of other Pac-12 schools. Remember now, USC and UCLA are supposed to be leaving the Pac-12. So that conference becomes wide open. I mean, he can't compete with Utah. How the hell did Utah get good? They're right next to each other, those two states. So who would you rather play for, Whittingham or Deion Sanders? Well, Whittingham's done a great job for Utah. I'd rather go play for Deion Sanders. It is what it is. So I hope he does a tremendous job. I think he will. I don't understand the criticism. A lot of that was with the HBCU. And again, I think Deion made a great point. He's like, I'm not leaving African Americans. What the hell are you talking about? And again, I agree with that. I don't understand. It's just the way we are in the world right now. People just want to criticize everything and anyone for anything and any reason. Doesn't make any sense. Deion will do a tremendous job, and I also liked the meeting he had. I don't know why we're not allowed to do this. I really don't. I don't. I don't know where people get off having a problem with this. He got the job at Colorado because Colorado sucked this past season, and they have sucked for a long time. They went 1-10. Okay. I can guarantee you this right now. If Colorado went 10-1, Deion wouldn't get that job because the coach that would be there would stay there. Or if he might leave and go to greener pastures, regardless, right? So obviously the players aren't great. Because if you're great, you don't only win one game. Great. We understand. So Deion does this meeting with the team, and he says, hey, look, I'm bringing my own luggage. I'm cleaning house. And people get all up in arms. I don't understand. If you took over a business that was losing money, chances are you would probably fire a lot of the people that were in charge of running that business. Why the hell would you keep it? Or keep them? Doesn't make any sense. So Deion went in and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Now, that creates, in my mind, you're finding out who your dogs are. You're finding out who wants to stay and grind this out. Or you're going to get the people who are mentally weak. They're just going to leave and go into the portal and go somewhere else. Good riddance, fine. But I don't understand. Our head coach comes in and says, this is what we're doing and how we're doing it. And if you don't like it, tough. I don't see the problem with that. Where I see the problem with these coaches is they'll lie and tell kids that they'll be there for 4 years and then they're not. However, the way the system is set up, that's their right, and they're able to go get the money that they've earned through building other programs. Again, no one in the world would have known who Jackson State was if Deion Sanders wasn't there. You can argue it all you want. I mean, you'd be losing that battle with me. But that's that. So I wish Deion and Colorado all the luck in the world. I want to see this guy succeed. I want to see him build a great program there with Colorado. You know, Colorado can go back to their glory days, which was about 30 years ago, and hopefully it works out for them. We have to see, though. We have to see how he coaches against, FBS talent, not FCS talent. So we'll see. We had the Aaron Judge thing as well this week. Before I get into that, let me give you a free pick for tonight. We're going to go to the NBA. First Friday in a long, long time. We don't have football, so we'll go to the NBA for tonight. So here on the Taking Vegas podcast, free pick for Friday, December 8th, will be the New York Knicks -3 over Charlotte. Now, I will admit that the Knicks generally do struggle when they go to Charlotte, but Charlotte's just got so many injuries right now. And the Knicks have played better defensively as of late. They're starting to get going. Thibodeau has made a couple lineup adjustments, and they're playing better defensively. They're shooting the ball better. 3 is a low number there. They should be able to get the job done. So Friday, December 8th, Taking Vegas podcast, we will go with the New York Knicks -3. I'll have some free picks coming up for you for Saturday in just a moment. Let's talk about Aaron Judge. Here's another thing I absolutely love. Aaron Judge could have taken a 7-year, $213 million contract at the start of this past baseball season. That's $30 million a year, pretty much. He could have taken that, and he could have been set for the next 7 years of his life. He could have set up his family. He could have set up his grandchildren, his children, eons of his family he could have set up, right? Great. He decided to turn it down. The Yankees leak the offer, which was really a BS move in my opinion. Aaron Judge, with all the class in the world, says, listen, I'm not talking about it. They made an offer. I turned it down. Simple and plain. That's my right. Many athletes today moan and cry, whine and complain if they perceive they've been slighted. Aaron Judge did not do that. Aaron Judge went out, played basically every game he could possibly play in, and put up the greatest offensive season that an American League hitter has ever had. And some might argue he put up the greatest season, clean, that a hitter has ever had. By the way, this is coming from a Barry Bonds fan, who I still think is the best baseball player I've ever seen. Steroids, this, that, and the other. We could have that debate. He's never been proven guilty of it. But to me, Barry Bonds is the best hitter I've ever seen. Aaron Judge went out and produced on the last year of his contract. And he did it in a classy way. He was forthright with the media. He wasn't arrogant to them. He didn't speak down to them. He answered every question. He went out and earned a 9-year, $360 million contract. And I want you guys to understand the word earned. You guys want to make the argument that the numbers for sports and the athletes have gotten out of control? Okay. TV revenue is great, though. They're charging God knows what for tickets. Hey, you want to go watch Aaron Judge? When you go to an NBA game, who you want to go see? You want to go see Steph Curry? You want to go see LeBron? You want to go see KD? You want to go see these players, Jason Tatum? You want to go see these great players? Well, they deserve to get paid. I'll argue that with anyone. Okay? He earned $360 million. He gambled on himself. He bet on himself. He could have had an injury. He could have had a bad season. A lot of things could have went wrong for Aaron Judge. He's been hurt before. Okay? He slumped before. Gambled on himself. I love that concept. I love saying, I believe in my talent. I believe in myself. I'm going to put myself on the line. Now, I had an argument with someone who said, well, he really didn't risk anything. Really? Really? I don't see it that way. He risked $213 million, if you ask me. Could have had a bad year. Could have crashed into the wall at Yankee Stadium. Broke his wrist. Had a bad injury. Who knows? To me, when you don't have a contract the following year, you're risking a lot. To me. Call me crazy. $360 million, well earned. And it should be, players should take heed of that and what he accomplished. So many guys want to play out that last year of the contract and not put themselves in harm's way and try to get as much money as they can as fast as they can possibly get it. I'm not going to kill anyone for that. And who knows, maybe I would do the same thing. I'm not in that situation. However, I like what he did. So it's well earned. I'm glad the Yankees and him came to that contract conclusion. And the next 9 years, he's in New York. And let's see if he can bring World Championship number 28. We had Verlander go to the Mets. The Mets signed Nemo. That was earlier today, Friday morning. Gave him about $20 million a year, maybe a little bit more. Obviously, Philly signed Turner. So a lot of hot stove MLB, but you really can't gamble on that stuff right now, so who cares? Let's go over to Saturday. All right, Army-Navy. Now, before I give a free pick on this game, I want to say a couple things. I don't remember what year it was, but maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer, the NCAA, who I despise, who I think gets everything wrong, who I think is one of the biggest criminal organizations in the history of mankind. It is very rare that you will ever get me to say a good word about the media, ever, in any regard, sports, political, anything. I think the media and the NCAA are two really bad things. So to get me to say a good word about the NCAA, to get me to say a good word about the media, crazy. The NCAA did a good thing. They made Army-Navy a standalone game, meaning that it's the only game that's being played this Saturday in FCS football. Those people who are going to, those kids who are going to serve our country admirably, deserve that moment. Our service people who do their best to keep our country safe deserve every accolade that we could possibly give them. We don't give them enough. So Army-Navy, and thank you for your service. Army-Navy gets a standalone game. I think a good play in this game is Navy money line. Now, there's been a crazy line move, so I'm going to give you a free pick here. This is for Saturday, Taking Vegas podcast. The outlaw line, which is the line that opens up 2 to 3 weeks prior to a game, the very first number was Army, and it was like -5 or -6, and then it came down real quick. It went down to like 3 or 2.5. And it was just the wrong line. It was just wrong. Sometimes they make mistakes. Army did not play a great schedule this year. Navy played a much harder schedule. Navy only gave up about 85 rushing yards per game against a much better schedule. Army gave up about 200 rushing yards a game against a much weaker schedule. What are both teams going to do? They're going to run the ball. So, free pick for Saturday is going to be Navy money line, which is like -140 in that area. Last Saturday, I don't want to hear no one screaming, "Oh, Chris, you're giving out a favorite on the money line." No, last week I gave you Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. I said plus the points and played them on the money line plus 115. So now I'm giving you a favorite. So Navy -140 money line over Army. Also for Saturday, college basketball game. We're going to go with, well, take a look at the over in the BYU Creighton game. All right, that should be a very high-scoring, entertaining game. So gave you college football, Navy, money line, gave you college basketball over BYU and Creighton. Let's go to Sunday. Now, Sunday, we already know, I'm not going to mention the game, but we already know we are using a monstrous, and when I tell you monstrous, NFL game. I have done radio shows. I've hosted Sports Investors Daily since 2006. I've owned websites. I've been involved in the sports gambling industry. This is now my 17th season. I am letting you know right now, I cannot recall a time where we have had more money in terms of clients and ourselves on a pro football game than this one. Maybe it's come up maybe in 2012, 2013, and I just don't quite remember. But I don't recall ever having the type of money that is going to be moved on this game on Sunday. It is one of our biggest games that like I said, I can remember. So it's something that you want to check out at takingvegas.com. And we do the Sports Investors Daily Show, which will be tomorrow and Sunday if you listen to this on Friday. Again, I record this podcast around Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. Monstrous NFL game. Do have a free pick. Now, last week, I gave you the under in the Denver-Baltimore game. I said that was going to be one of the most boring football games that you will ever see. It proved to be just that. I have another under. I know. I get a lot of emails. I give out my email address, chris@takingvegas.com. I get a lot of emails, man. And it seems like people, even if the games win, are not happy when I give out unders. I don't know why. It just proves to me that many people out there, and I'm not trying to offend any individual, I'm saying this as people, many of them are suckers, but a good-hearted sucker. Many people want to bet the over because they want to root for both teams. There's nothing wrong with that. That's an inherently good person. You want to root for both teams. Okay, great. But as I've said, it is easy to overinflate an over because people will bet them anyway. You can't make unders low enough, right? Like Tampa Bay and San Francisco, that game's not getting to 38 points. That's going to be a defensive game. That game might be 13-10. So free pick for Sunday NFL action here, Taking Vegas podcast, will be under Tampa Bay and San Francisco. Do not expect Brock Purdy to do a lot of stuff offensively. They're going to play to their defense. Tampa Bay has not played well offensively pretty much the entire season. They're off a Monday night game, which they needed a miracle to win. And they have to travel out across the country on a short week. So look for a very, very tight defensive game. And 13-10 looks like a final score to me. So under 37.5, Tampa Bay and San Francisco. Now, I want you guys to understand something as well. Lots of tough games in pro football this week, just looking at it. Detroit is a favorite at home. 5-7 Detroit is a favorite at home against Minnesota. Very tricky. Particular reason for that, Minnesota has the flu running through them. So if you didn't know that, just be aware of that. Jets are playing the Bills. Last time the Jets played the Bills were a 10-point favorite. Last time the Jets played the Bills lost outright. In a game, Josh Allen looked like a high school quarterback. The Bills are -10 again. -9.5 or more this season is winning 33% of the time against the spread. So keep that in mind. You have the Eagles and the Giants. The Giants are a very well-coached football team. The Eagles are the better football team. The Eagles are -7. Tough to lay a touchdown on the road in the divisional game. However, tough to go with the Giants because they're not as good as Philadelphia. Browns and Bengals. That seems like an easy one, doesn't it? Seems like everyone in the world would bet Cincinnati. Cincinnati's lost 5 straight to Cleveland. See what Deshaun Watson does. He didn't look bad last week. He didn't look great. They didn't play a really good team last week. Now they're playing a good team. However, the Bengals are -5.5, up from 3.5. So just off the bat, you would be like, oh, I'll go with the Bengals. Sometimes it's not that simple. Jacksonville and Tennessee. Garbage game. But Tennessee, 7-5 against Jacksonville, 4-8. Tennessee -3.5. I'll give you a slight lean there on Tennessee. Tennessee's supposed to win that game. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's playing better, but they're not great. Baltimore's a good football team, but Lamar Jackson's out. Which way do you go there? Houston and Dallas. Throw out. Dallas is favored by about 100. No one in their right mind is going to give you Houston, but you got to lay a bunch of points to get on Dallas. Chiefs and Broncos. The Broncos might be the most disappointing team in the history of the NFL. New coach, he can't add or count. New quarterback, he can't seem to remember the plays. And I've been going on Bronco unders all year long. However, it wouldn't shock me if the Chiefs, scored a bunch of points in this game. However, here we go again. Chiefs -9.5. And again, 9.5 or more, covering 33% of the time. Carolina and Seahawks. Seahawks are supposed to win that game, but the line went from 7 to 4. Tricky. Bucks and Niners gave you a free pick on that. Under Miami and the Chargers. Now, you want to talk a screw job that the NFL gave Miami. Last week, San Francisco, they stay out on the West Coast for the Chargers. Sunday night game. Then they got to get across the country and play a Saturday night game at Buffalo. They couldn't give them a Saturday 1 o'clock game because the NFL don't care about their fans. They're going to make them freeze their asses off in Orchard Park on Saturday night in December. What was wrong with giving that team the 1 o'clock game? Nah, make them freeze. That's a tough spot for Miami. And Miami's got some injuries on the offensive line, so be aware of that. So lots to consider. Want you guys to check out Sports Investors Daily over at TakingVegas.com. If you're not already on the website, we have free pick articles all over the place. Live scores, live odds, live injury reports, matchup breakdowns, the whole 9 yards. Check that out at TakingVegas.com. Free picks, let's just recap. Obviously, I gave you the Knicks for Friday. Gave you Navy money line for Saturday. Look at the over in the Creighton BYU game for Saturday night and under Tampa Bay San Francisco for Sunday. When we get to Monday, we'll talk about the Pats and the Cardinals. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed listening to the podcast. We're going to end it there. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Check out Sports Investors Daily on Saturday and Sunday. It's on all throughout the country, and we'll have the show on TakingVegas.com. And let's win some money. Again, biggest NFL play that I can remember. And I've been doing this since 2006. I've been in the business since 2002. Been doing radio since 2006. So biggest one that I can remember. And we're talking about that all weekend long on Sports Investors Daily. That's how big the NFL game is. We've already had people out in Vegas bet it this week. We'll have tickets to show. All right. So I want you guys to enjoy on Friday. Enjoy the weekend. And make sure you check out the Taking Vegas podcast next week.